He says, all right, Billy, just settle down, settle down. All right, class, it's real simple. Now, in addition, I have one rabbit, and I'm going to give that rabbit to Billy. Billy, hold out your hand. Billy held out his hand, and he handed Billy the imaginary rabbit. He says, okay. He says, Billy, you have the rabbit? He says, yeah. He says, okay, now I'm going to give Billy one more rabbit. I've given him one. I'm going to give him one more rabbit. He gives him the second imaginary rabbit. He says, and now, Billy, tell us all, how many rabbits do you have? And Billy smiled and said, I have 3 rabbits. And the man said, no, Billy, let's try it again. All right, I'm going to hand you one rabbit, right? He said, yeah. So he hands him the rabbit. He said, how many rabbits did I hand you? He said, 1. He says, I'm going to hand you a second rabbit. He hands him the rabbit. He says, Billy, how many rabbits have I handed you? He said, you handed me another one. How many rabbits did I hand you total? 2. How many rabbits do you have? 3. So he got tired of that and finally asked Billy, Billy, if I hand you one rabbit, then I hand you another rabbit, 1 rabbit plus 1 rabbit equals what? He said, 3 rabbits. He said, how do you have 3 rabbits? He said, because I already have a rabbit at home. You like that? Of course, there's a method in my madness. Your students already have a rabbit. They do. You hand them your rabbit. You don't hand it to them in a vacuum. They may not know where they're going, but they're sharp. When we honor that, what we do is we acknowledge the truth, but we also, out of that respect, engender them to us. We bring them to us because you acknowledge that there's somebody before they come to you. Your role as the gatekeeper is to give them a little bit more. Give them another rabbit. Now the next person has to reckon with this person with 2 rabbits. And then 3, and then 4, and then 5. One of the things that I think is so important about teaching is just understanding that every one of your students comes to you with a deficit. You therefore don't have the luxury as the teacher who lectures at Yale or Harvard, where we think that they've got it all together. We are dealing with students that have deficits. If you're a coach and you have football players, basketball players, or whatever, these are not blue chip players. Duke has them. North Carolina has them. They don't come to community colleges. Think about that. Those players are people who still love the game. They just want to play. Now, every now and then, you might get a standout who didn't do well academically on the standardized test, so they come here to kind of get it together, and then they take off. We hear about that. That's 1% of 1%. You don't get the cream of the crop. You get people who have deficits, people who have doubts, people who don't know where they're going, which means that you as an instructor are required even more so to put something into their bag, to inquire upon them, what are you doing here? You have to be teacher / gatekeeper / miracle worker / mentor. A lot of people come into the community college system don't know that. It's a good job. I'm not saying you get rich doing it. My wife works for the community college system. But I am saying that you are in the best possible position to be a game changer. I went to USC. Not a whole lot of my professors were game changers. In fact, not one of them. I went to El Camino College and took one class, and Professor Lee, whose name I repeat to you today, was a game changer. He said, William, you speak well.